Hello, everybody. Benny? What is happening? Hey, Denise. Harry, Kevin, Dwayne. Why you got the clock there, Dwayne? Why you got on get? Why you got the, what's the clock for? What's that indicative of? Denise, que paso? How are you? How are you? Just want to start, hello, Tom? Hello? Harry, Halloween's over. You can take your mask off. That joke never gets old. Man, I didn't even watch Charlie Brown Halloween special this year. I cannot believe it. Hey, Joe. Vaughn. So while we're getting started, just something I've been, I'll share this with you here real quick. So here's our man Buzz Aldrin right there. Buzz, kind of weird. See how it's kind of bright right there? Bright, and it gets darker over here. Yeah. Just interesting. I was kind of bright right there, and it gets darker over there. Kind of interesting. Look how dark it gets over there. What? You'd think because the sun is, because like when you go to the beach, you know how you're sitting on the beach and the sun shines, it gets darker. It gets darker away from where you are in the center. It gets darker. It doesn't. It's so freaking stupid. It gets darker there. That's it's just this. Oh my goodness, my friends. This should not happen. If the sun was the only source of light, this should not happen. It should not get darker in the outset here. It should all be the same. Like if you look at a desert, if you go to the desert at Phoenix, Arizona, or Arizona, for heaven's sake, you don't see it get dark over here if the only source of light is the sun. And yet the sun actually is obviously coming from this way. It's actually funny, man. And then we look at this one here too. Oops, and I'll just show you. He's in the shadows, so the sun's coming from this way over here. There's, I think that's Neil, and he's being lit up, even though the sun's on the other side of the lunar module. How's he being lit up? Oh, he's being lit up according to MythBusters, or whatever they're called, by the illumination off the soil, or not the soil, but the off the sand on the moon. Oh my goodness, it's just funny. Anyway, all right, enough of that crap. I was just coming back from taking Chloe and from taking UGA. We had some long discussions of various fraud perpetuated on humanity, and hey, right on. Astros, I saw one. Yep, they did, man. Yeah. Instamatic cameras, right? They had Instamatic. Yeah, the old it gets funner if you, or funner, more fun. I don't know. The more you dive into it, the funner it gets. Actually, it's fun, man. You start to say, okay, because there's so many issues with it. Not just the photography, so much. The thing that got me is when they lost the telemetry data. They lost the lunar module specifications. They lost the original video of the moon landing. The literally original video, they lost it. I said, that doesn't make sense. Anyway, all right. So poor camera. Yeah, poor camera. Weird, too, because, you know, it's interesting. That's what people say. Poor camera. Poor camera. Yeah, weird. In fact, it's such a poor camera. You know what's even more amazing? I'm just going to show it to you. Oops, hold on a second. Is that, hold on just a second. Is that the camera was so poor that, actually, let's see if we can see something here. Yeah, let's go to this one. When you're in the sun, because there's no atmosphere, you're out of the orbit. You're not in low Earth atmosphere, even though they're lately been trying to say the moon is in the Earth's atmosphere, but it's not. It's 200 degrees right there, Celsius or Fahrenheit. I don't know what they use up. I don't know, but it's over 200 degrees. In the shade, it's under 200 degrees. It's 200 degrees below zero. So it's a 200 degree above zero. I don't know if it's Fahrenheit or Celsius. It's 200 degrees below zero in the shade. and yet the camera with all the moving parts was able to contract and all that without breaking or damaging, because it's a poor camera, of course. Extreme temperatures from moving from the shade to the sun. Never mind all the radiation that's up there, because there's no atmosphere to shield you from the radiation. You take your camera through a thing when you go to the telescope, the airport, that little thing right there. You take your laptop, and all the radiation could completely blow up your camera or your whatever you got on your laptop. And yet there, because there's no atmosphere to shield us from the radiation, the camera, the poor camera, is still able to process the video, the tapes, and the images. Yeah. Look, man, people believe what they believe. It's funny. It's fine. I don't care. I literally don't care. I find it interesting that somehow the idea that the government that we all as conservatives don't trust, but in some areas, these are the things we trust. And again, for the old conservatives was the Department of Defense, NASA, and the CIA/FBI. And I've come to realization that anything of the government is not trustworthy, and anything of big business is not trustworthy either. And so I've come to the conclusion that if there's money to be made, lies will be perpetrated to make the money, and power too. And as such, the people who are in charge have every incentive under the sun to lie, cheat, and steal to gain power and financial wherewithal. It's just all there is to it. And it doesn't stop at the Republican Party. The Republican Party, just as many corrupt scumbags as the Democratic Party. They're just fewer percentage-wise, in my estimation. I don't know, but my inclination is a significant majority of Democrats are scumbags trying to get rich and powerful. And while probably 40% of Republicans are, I do think there's enough that are actually trying hard to be the MAGA politicians, frankly, which is my concern with DeSantis. Not gonna lie to you, man. I was interested. I was interested that Trump called DeSantis the Ron DeSanctimonious. That kind of made me. I like that Trump's taking on Ron DeSantis. We need a great flushing, and that doesn't mean DeSantis isn't a great. DeSantis kicks ass. It kicks ass to take names, but let's look at who's supporting that guy, and it certainly isn't the MAGA Republicans in terms of the moneyed interests. It's all the Jeb Bush types, the Paul Ryans. That doesn't mean DeSantis is wrong. That's like Reagan said, when they said, some guy from the John Birch Society gave you money. What do you think about that? He goes, if they want to support my policies, that's okay. But I'm not, just because I take their money doesn't mean I support their policies. Reagan said that best, 100%. So just because all the scumbags in the Republican Party support DeSantis in of itself doesn't make DeSantis bad. Not at all. I'm a big fan of Ron DeSantis, but the facts are who is going to get more street cred with the DeSantis administration: the Jeb Bush types, Paul Ryan types, Lindsey Graham types, or the MAGA types. And I don't know. I mean, DeSantis, Rush Limbaugh talked highly of DeSantis before DeSantis was governor, and Rush talked highly of Trump too. So, at the end of the day, if it's Trump versus DeSantis, I'm leaning towards Trump. Well, I'm not leaning. I will be a Trump guy, but I hope it doesn't come to that, frankly. I hope DeSantis stays focused on Florida, because he should win pretty resoundingly here on Tuesday. And as such, then he can do great things in Florida for the next 4 years. Let the next 2 years play out. Trump versus whoever they put in to fight him, Gavin Newsom. Let Trump play that out, and then DeSantis come back strong at 2028. 2028. But for the next 2 years, I fully expect that Trump sounds like he's ready to rock and roll. And if so, I think he is the benefit of the doubt, 100%. And DeSantis should step aside without question. Yeah, I completely agree. Stick his own governor campaign. Yeah. And I think he is. I mean, I know I don't think DeSantis is doing anything wrong. Look, I'm not here to bash the guy. I'm a big fan. But I just, it's easy to get swayed. Rush Limbaugh in 1994, when the Republicans took over the Senate and the House, he used to say, be on the lookout for Cokie Roberts batting her eyes. Say, hey, Newt Gingrich. Hey, Joe Scarborough. I'm Cokie Roberts. I'm batting my eyes. Tell me what you know what I'm saying? He goes, I remember that like it's yesterday. He said, be on the lookout for DC insiders batting their eyes at you, saying, "Hey, we just want to hear your story." And then we know what happened with Newt Gingrich when he's talking. I think it was it Boehner, when they recorded, some clowns recorded his conversation in Florida, and they made a big deal about this. It was crazy. And anyway, the thing is, the media hates you. The media is evil, and the Republicans, and on top of that, the GOP establishment is evil too, man. And the Republicans need to remember that when they take over. I don't think the Republicans. I mean, look, anything could happen. I don't think the Republicans are going to win the Senate. I just don't. Until I see it, I don't think it's going to happen. I just don't. The map was geared toward against the Republicans in 2022. Is heavily geared in our favor in 2024. I just don't see it happening. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I think there's going to be a lot of disappointed Republicans, man, come Wednesday. I think the Republicans will win the House pretty resoundingly. Probably take 45 seats, which is good. Don't get me wrong. That's fantastic. I think the Senate would probably be 50-50. You know what I'm saying? I don't expect us to win. The map is hard. It really is. And I know what happened in 1994, and I know what happened in 2010, and then in 2014, and in 2018 too. Don't forget. The Republicans won in 2018. Trump took out 4 Democratic incumbents, which has never happened since FDR. Now, the Congress the House of Representatives went to the Democrats because that's gerrymandered. And it was gerrymandered again in 2020. And because Republicans owned lots of state legislatures, we're able to get the gerrymander in our favor, which is great. I wish there wasn't a gerrymander, but you're dealt with the hands we're dealt with. Play the cards with the hands you're dealt. But Senate can't be gerrymandered, but certainly can be free and clear, free and fair. Fulton County, Georgia, free and fair. Never been audited, but it's free and fair. Just ask them. Like, ask who? The people in charge. They told us it's free and fair. Oh, so the people in charge would have no incentive to maybe stretch the truth a little bit? Well, as a Republican, Brad Raffensperger, whatever the hell is that, Puffy? And I did not vote for Puffy. Who was in charge? So Brad Raffensperger, because he's a Republican, he doesn't want to be held accountable either. So he would say, it's clean. So we still know what happened in Fulton County. To this day, we don't know. The Georgia Supreme Court has finally said we got to audit these ballots from 2 years ago. It's nuts, dudes. How many people freaking died over the last 2 years? You know what I'm saying? Because of insanity on the Biden administration. But that's what happens. The process takes a long time, without question. But anyway, I'm expecting a big frustration on the Republican Party. At this stage, because they've been overhyping the Republicans' chances, it'll be a disappointment when we only take over the House, which is unfortunate. Because if you looked at, and I hope I'm wrong, dudes, trust me. I hope freaking Hassan goes down in New Hampshire. I'm hoping the guy in Nevada beats that clown in Nevada. I'm hoping Herschel wins here in Georgia. 100%. I'm hoping for these things, but I just don't expect it. And if again, I'm cautiously pessimistic in my whole life. That's the way I've always run my life. I'm cautiously pessimistic, and as such, if we win, that's fantastic, and I hope we do, so we can stop Sniffy Joe's judges. Remember, the best thing McConnell did was stopping Obama's Supreme Court nominee, Merrick Garland. And then that was a big gamble, and it paid off in droves. You know what I'm saying? So as much as McConnell is a clown, which he is, at the end of the day, it was a huge gamble, and it won. And the Republican Party and conservatism and America has won for that, for sure. And then Trump going in there and getting all these judges approved, by McConnell, run Senate was freaking ginormous, man. And then in 2018, when the Republicans gained more seats in Senate against everyone's expectations, that was gigantic. The problem is, of course, is that we gave it up in 2020, and as such, Sniffy Joe was able to get a bunch of freaking judges in, but not anywhere near what Trump did. That's huge. Now, I wish they would have done more against the mandates and whatnot. Amy, what's her name? ACB. I mean, she's certainly better than Ginsburg, but she's been a disappointment. Kavanaugh has been a disappointment. You know what I'm saying? But that's okay. I'd rather be disappointed than Ruth Bader Ginsburg and freaking, what's that? The wise Latina. You know what I'm saying? We don't want those people there. So anyway, we'll take the wins we can get. I just expect us not to. I think it's be 50-50. I think Herschel will win. I think he'll win going away. But I don't expect New Hampshire to win. And the reason is because we know what happened. Man, was it? I was talking to these people in New Hampshire the other day. I couldn't believe they didn't know this. I said, "Don't you know what happens in New Hampshire? People from Massachusetts get to vote in New Hampshire, even though they're not registered. Like they're college students in New Hampshire. They get to vote in New Hampshire, and there's no. I mean, hopefully that's changed, but there's no rules to minimize that from happening. And the courts are. I can't remember what it was. It said, yeah, it's okay to allow these people vote who are college students in New Hampshire and they live in Massachusetts to vote. You're like, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? And as such, I don't expect Boulder to win. I just don't. I think the machine up there is going to be able to keep Maggie Hassan in office. I don't expect LePage to win in Maine. I think Maine's done, unfortunately. In that regard, I mean, it's not done in terms of it's still a wonderful state with wonderful people. It's just it's dominated by the libs in Portland. No other way around that. We'll see about Nevada. I can see Nevada going for the Republicans for sure. That'd be two pickups. I don't think we're going to win Pennsylvania. I think we're going to lose Pennsylvania. And I bet it won't even be that close. I mean, I bet it'd be 3 percentage points, which is not anywhere near what the polls are showing. It looks like my man Ron Johnson is going to win, is going to be reelected in Wisconsin. And that freaking, if the Republicans can take over the Senate, man, having Ron Johnson win re-election, I'm telling you, man, that's freaking huge. The farmer doesn't know what awaits them with Ron Johnson in charge in the Senate because he's the only guy. No one else had any guts. Tom Cotton, nope. Mike Lee, nope. Hawley, nope. No one else had the guts that Ron Johnson did to take on Big Pharma. And I've supported that guy financially, not much, a couple $100, but if Ron Johnson can win in Wisconsin, and if the Republicans take over and get chair of the committees, that's freaking huge, dudes. Huge. I cannot stress how gigantic that is. There's going to be some freaking serious things. I mean, we're not relying on John Durham and Horowitz and all these clowns, these lawyers from the Department of Justice. We're relying on the senators and Ron Johnson, fresh off a re-election with a Republican majority. Man, if I was the freaking big farmer, I'd be pooping my pants, man, because there's going to be some hell to pay. I hope. We'll see. I don't think Ron Johnson is one of these guys who's going to, like a Lindsey Graham, who's going to talk a big game. And then when, it hits the fan, just walks away, says, we slapped you on the wrist, Eric Holder. You've been held in contempt, and nothing happens. Because Ron Johnson was in the middle of this thing in 2020, taking the arrows that we all want someone to take. And amazingly, there's a guy from Wisconsin, a businessman from Wisconsin. Anyway, so I think Ron Johnson, if he wins and the Republicans, he ain't going to play. I don't think he's not going to be a freaking Lindsey Graham or a freaking Paul Ryan or one of these clowns that says slap on the wrist, or Kevin McCarthy. Not the least. Ron Johnson's been I'm freaking kicking ass and taking names, man. You know what I'm saying? And it just takes a couple guys who got guts to pull the others along with them, kicking or screaming. Tom Cotton, love him, funding these Ukraine, got to stop that. And if Republicans win, hopefully there'll be enough new guys to come in and say, we're not funding Ukraine anymore. I'm not expecting that. Looks like the guy in Colorado has an outside chance of winning. I don't think he will. And he's an anti-Trump guy anyway. So, I hope he wins, because anti-Trump still with the Republicans better than clown, Michael Bennett. But at the end of the day, I'm not expecting much from him. Blake Masters, I'd love to see that guy win in Arizona. That'd be fantastic. Speaking of talk about hoaxes, the astronaut hoaxes that we see. Kelly's a clown, so I'd love to see that guy win there. Freaking what's her name? Jill, anyone know what's going on in freaking Alaska? The last I heard is 50. Burkowski's 50 and the other lady run against her is at 49 or something like that. I'd love to see Murkowski lose. That would make my day. Yeah, Wisconsin, Denise, freaking Ron Johnson. I hope you voted early and voted often. Anyway, so in Wisconsin, so I mean, just seeing that guy, it's kind of like Joseph McCarthy. How dare you? He was from Wisconsin, in case you guys didn't know, Joseph McCarthy. Wisconsin also had the congressman from a long time ago in the 70s, kind of a peacenik, but he was a big anti-vaxxer, that guy. I'm drawing a blank what his name was. The congressman from Wisconsin. I can't remember, man. What the hell was that guy's name? Man, it was a congressman from Wisconsin back in the 70s, a big anti-vax guy, a Democrat too. And he kicked ass. Yeah, Abrams is done. Her goose is cooked. That's it right there. La Follette. Yep, 100%. So bad. Yes, I'm sure I agreed with him on very limited things, but the fact he stood up to big pharma during the 70s was fantastic, and that's good stuff. So what Wisconsin has an independent streak, man. I'm a big fan. I heard Keith Ellison looks like I read this someplace. I haven't really followed it that much to confirm, but I heard Keith Ellison is getting smoked in the polls. Is actually is the AG up for? Oh, God, Jeremy, I keep forgetting to freaking email you back, dude. Oh man, all right, I'll email you back tomorrow. I promise, brother. Promise, brother, man. I keep forgetting. My fault. Anyway, as I think Minnesota elections 2022. Let's see what's going on in Minnesota because I'd love to see Keith Ellison go down in flames. That'd be. Oh man. Well, where you live, brother? I want some of that. I think Walker. I don't think Walker's going to. I think Walker's going to win. I think Kemp is going to win so big that Walker will win as well. I think. I'm not a big fan of pork chops. You got sous vide them, man. Sous vide them. That way they keep the juices. If you just put them on the grill, mine dry up. Yeah. Well, they don't have Elliott Cutler to take third-party votes away from Janet Mills because he's because he did that twice. They framed him with child porn stuff. You know what I'm saying? So they had Elliott Cutler, taking third-party votes away from the Democrat and allowed Paul LePage to win twice. But they said, no, we're not going to let you do that again, Elliott Cutler. So we're going to frame you for child porn. And look, if they want to frame me, they're going to frame. I had a lady the other day email me, what should we do about? I forgot what. Oh, speaking of which, I have got. Oh man, my wife told me to share this with. All right. Now, Jill, Jill, Denise, you're totally missing it. It doesn't matter if you get out the vote. It matters who counts the vote, Jill. Denise, come on, man. Come on. It doesn't matter if you get the vote out. It matters the counting. All right, so I got to share this with you guys. It's from USA. So I'm driving back to University of Georgia today. I get this message, and I almost screwed up. So I get this message right there from USA. Did you attempt that? Y'all see that? That's the message I got. And I noticed that was the phone number. I said, why would USA be testing me from an 806 number? I said, that doesn't make any sense. That's a phone number. And I know, look, I know USA's phone number back in my heart. And but for some reason I looked and I didn't see it said 806. It just said I just put in my head 800. So I clicked no. And then I got this call, and I can see if I can't show it to you. Right. See where it says that right there? That's USA's number, 1-800-531-8722. I know that like the back of my heart. So I'm sitting there. I get this text, and I knew that 806. I said, no way, that doesn't make any sense. But I said no. I get a call from 800-531-8722 that said USA. And I'm like, all right, maybe that's legit. So I answer the phone. I'm driving back from Athens. You know what I'm saying? So I'm on the highway. As an Indian guy, or at least a guy who couldn't speak English all that clearly, and USA outsources a lot of stuff to India. I hate to say it, but they do. So I'm, in of itself, that didn't surprise me. But he was talking that he's making some sense. So like, all right. And then he said, you got 20 minutes to basically reset all your. So he sent me this thing, and so I'm talking to this guy. He sent me this thing. He goes, he's going to send me a thing to verify my username via automated text system. And he said, you got 20 minutes to to do it, or else we're going to send or else, we got to release $1,000 from your account. So a couple of things are going on in my head right there. Ding, ding, ding. It's a Sunday evening. All right. Banks don't work that fast, especially on the weekend. So I'm like, that seems kind of odd. You know what I'm saying? And I said 20 minutes on a Sunday via Zelle. I said no, I'm thinking that's kind of weird. You know what I'm saying? Because no bank works that fast. It just doesn't happen. I've been in banking long enough. They don't release money on a Sunday night. So that right there made the fire alarms go off in my head. I said, what? So I got 20 minutes to stop this, or else they're going to take the $1,000 and deposit with Wendy Gomez in freaking Los Altos, California. I said, I don't know about that. I said, well, I'll take care of it when I get home. He goes, no, you don't know. And he's like, no, you got to do it. And I said, well, I'm driving. You know what I'm saying? He goes, I said, what, you want me to pull over? He goes, yeah, I want you to pull over. But the way he was talking, I said, yeah, I'm gonna hang up. I'm gonna call USA directly. He's like, no, well, just wait. And I hung up on him. Long story short, so I told my wife to call. I said, just call USA and see what the hell's going on. And sure enough, they spoofed. They were able to spoof the area code that said the caller ID that said 800-531 USA. Some reason they were able to spoof that. I don't know how. She goes, yep. I'm glad. And she goes, the lady my wife was talking to said, I'm glad you didn't do anything, because apparently this is happening all the time. They're able. So this is the second time I've got this, and I don't know why I didn't process it. I got that before, and I didn't respond because I saw it said 806. But before, I was sitting in my right there in my room or my living room, and so I said, yeah, 806. No one from USA's texted me from 806. I don't know why this time it hit me. I guess because it just caught me was freaking and taking Chloe to Athens. I wasn't able to connect 2 and 2. Long story short, dudes. They were able to spoof the caller ID saying it was from, it said literally USAA 1-800-531-8722, which is USA's number. I'm like, damn, I guess USA's calling me. And USA's pretty quick on fraud stuff. And I'm like, damn, dude. So, my man says it's easy to spoof. Oh, man. See, I didn't know that. Wow. Whoa. Look at all you guys are smart. I didn't know that. I don't even know what TDM is. TDM, what? Telephone data mechanism, something like that. Just be careful. If there's no, and like the lady said to my wife, and I'll see if I got something on here. She goes, if USA or Verizon or anything like that ever texts you, it'll be like this right here. It'll be a 6-digit thing. It won't be, 1-800 eat crap. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a 6-digit thing. So if USA or the Bank of America, whatever bank institution you're dealing with, it won't be 806. You suck. It'll be like a 6-digit thing like that. Did not know. Anyway, they didn't have access to my account or nothing. But man, I'm pretty freaking. I don't trust nobody. And I wasn't gonna. I said, well, you're telling me if it wasn't Sunday night. You know what I'm saying? Because, again, I've been around banking long enough to know. I said, banks on Sunday nights, they just don't. Money doesn't go out in 30 minutes on a Sunday night. Does not happen. If it's a Monday night, I still probably would have fell for it because I know how banks work. It takes at least 24. It doesn't work like that. But I might have been more inclined. Point being is now be flipping careful, man. Oh, yeah, dude. All over YouTube. Like this guy right here. I think his name's Gordon. He said he almost fell for it too. Somebody did. They said, Josh, I was trying to get in touch with you on WhatsApp. I said, I'm not flipping on WhatsApp. I don't do Cash App, WhatsApp. I don't do anything. I don't promote Bitcoin. None of it. Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's exactly what I did. So I hung up and I said, I'm going to call directly. Exactly what I did. But I mean, it shot me when I saw it said 800-531-8722 from USA. It's like, damn. All right. Old TDM tied a number to a physical address on the North American number and plan and 60s technology. Yeah, I tell you, technology is good and all, but man, it's also bad. I mean, there's something to be said about the old days, that's for sure. But it is what it is. I mean, what are you going to do? We're not going back. Not going back. Here's Jeremy. Jeremy would know because he's a young white guy, so he knows how to spoof things because that's all he does. He's in his basement going spoof, spoof, spoof. I'm just goofing, Jeremy. Time division multiplexing from retired. Okay, right on. I had one time I pissed him off so bad the guy couldn't even speak the Indian that he could speak. Oh my goodness, that is funny. Let's see. Wife just got her debit card. Yeah, dude. I've been, hell. That's in this day and age. That's friggin'. I mean, if you got any kind of freaking credit card or something like that in this day and age, you know it's going to be scanned for sure. All right. So is that what I want to chat about before I get in my thing? I think it is. Oh, that's what I was going to look at. We're going to look at Minnesota. All right, hold on a second. Then we'll get into my. Let's see what's happening in Minnesota. I would love to see Keith Ellison go down. So they're having general election in Minnesota. Let's see if they're having other state executives. Sweet. Let's see which one it is. He's the attorney general. Yes. All right. That's fantastic. Let's see that guy go down. My man, Dr. Scott, right there. Dr. Scott, let's take him out. I'd love to see Dr. Scott take out. Look, man, I want the Republicans to win so bad to stick it to the freaking Blues. I so despise the Blues. That doesn't mean I think the flipping Republicans are great. It doesn't mean that. But man, the Blues are just so sanctimonious, so full of crap. There's a guy here running for attorney general. I can't remember his name. And he's a white guy. And in his ads, he's got nothing but minorities on there. And only at the very end does he include one young white girl. That's it. I was like, dude, I get you want to be the white savior. I get it. But don't you know you have to appeal to at least some whites? I get it. You're so used to you're so in this bubble that whites are bad about everything. Whites are on the way out. I get all that. I mean, I get it. If I'm a Democrat and I'm a white guy, I get it because I'm ashamed of my skin. How am I going to get anyone to vote for me? Blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, dude, you won the primary. Now you got to do what Nixon says, dude. You run to the right during the primary and run to the center during the general. Now, I don't agree with that. I agree with what Trump did, which is run to the right in the primary and run to the right on the general as well, because the right has so many people who haven't voted because of Karl Rove and the Nixon and all that, those campaigns. But you go to where the votes are. And if you're a white guy and you're running for attorney general in Georgia, you're not going to win on the backs of liberal whites and freaking Buckhead and minorities. Just not going to happen. You've got to appeal to whites, and you don't do that by excluding them from your campaign. I'm sitting there, I'm just in awe at the level of insanity. On top of that, Stacey Abrams has been pro-abortion the whole time. I'm sitting there thinking, these guys are crazy. They've literally read their own headlines. They freaking smoke their own product. They think abortion is everything and everything. And it's like, it ain't. Most people are pretty content the way things are. I'm just telling you right now. Look, I don't like abortion. I think it's evil. I think it should be 100% made illegal. Am I going to not vote for a guy who says, hey, in the cases of rape and incest, I think it's no, I'm going to still vote for him. I don't like it, but one small step at a time. That's how the Democrats took over everything. One small step at a time. You see what I'm saying? That's what actually the gays had a lot more. Well, the gays took a lot longer. It took a long time for the blacks, less longer for the gays, and all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, trans people. I said, where the hell does trans thing come up? It's weird. But the gays did have to fight. It took them a while. It took the blacks forever, and the gays were able to use what they learned from the blacks to gain acceptance and then obviously political power. And then the trans people was like, dude, they just woke up one day, so we're trans and we want power, and everyone just capitulates. Weird. I was like, what the hell happened there? But anyway, the point being is, I'm like, dude, I get it, Democrats. I get it that you don't like white people. I understand. I get it. I mean, we've been told that long enough. You can't stand us. We get it. You still need our votes. And I get you say, hey, the media doesn't have, all the commercials now are always interracial marriages, all this stuff. I get it. So you think whites are on the way out. You still need our votes. and you're making it very explicit. You don't want us. You don't like our kind, dudes. You know what I'm saying? And as a white guy, I want to make sure that people, at least who don't hate me, are in office, if that makes sense. Because I got 4 kids. I don't want to be hated because of their skin color. And as such, I can't vote for the Democrats. Not, I mean, obviously, it's more than just that, but I mean, they're freaking nuts, dudes. You know what I'm saying? And don't forget, you got to win these victories one at a time. Don't forget how gun rights were. I've said this before. I'll say it again. John Grisham, in one of his books in the early 90s, had written about a guy in Mississippi who was carrying a handgun that wasn't licensed or wasn't registered. It was a concealed weapon. And he got busted and arrested. And it's in Mississippi now. It's a fiction, but still, I guarantee it's legit. That he got arrested in Mississippi for carrying an unregistered handgun concealed. And now it's like anyone can. I mean, carry it anywhere. It's great. I love it. You know what I'm saying? So these battles have to be won to win the war, and the war on abortion is we're winning. It just takes some time. And unfortunately, a lot of anti-abortionists want it to happen now. You can't. You just got to take it one step at a time. That makes sense. There's my man Bill right here. Yeah, special flip phone. 100%. Military spec flip phone. Abortion is evil, dude. It's 100%. I'm really upset that the inconvenience of a child, so I'm going to kill a baby. Did you hear that NPR thing, James? Did you hear that NPR thing where they literally played the audio of an abortion, the vacuum and everything? Dude, it's freaking disgusting. Oh, yeah, Grisham's far lefty again. Oh, I know that. But actually, Grisham's pretty. Anyway, long story short, so the NPR posted an audio of an abortion happening. It's like, it's freaking. This is our taxpayer dollars, dude. I can't listen to it because it'll freaking piss me off. Oh, can you imagine? Like, we're gonna celebrate womanhood by showing an extermination of a baby. Oh, and they're like celebrating it, and you hear the mom, crying because I don't know how it works, but it's not a good place, and and then the nurse is like, it's we're with you. Look, it's great. You're doing great, kid. Oh, it's freaking disgusting. 100%, 100%. No, I don't listen. I'm not going to listen to it. You don't want to reward evil by focusing on it. You got to focus on the good, the true, the beautiful. All right. I don't know. They worship the god of abortion. If I were president, I would. If you do abortion, you're going to jail. It's just that simple. We know the best way to avoid abortion. Everybody knows it. Keep it in your pants, boys. Keep it in your pants, and you don't have to worry about abortion. What about rape? Well, in rape, I hate to say it, but I actually don't hate to say it. You don't take out a crime by committing another crime. You just don't. And that's just a fact. And the guy from Babylon B, when Joe Rogan was asking about it, this is where I know Joe Rogan is just paid opposition, controlled opposition. He got the guy from Babylon B. I can't remember. I want to say his name's Marcus, but I'm not sure that to be true. And he lit up Joe Rogan. I said, man, Joe Rogan's such a clown. I cannot stand that guy. The fact he's got making young, impressionable men, oh, so bad. It's just disgusting. Anyway, the guy from the Babylon B made Joe Rogan look like he was a child. And Joe Rogan said, basically, let it get uncle. It was freaking wonderful. If you ever get a chance, watch the clip where the guy from Babylon B just destroyed Joe Rogan. It was fantastic. Let's see. Marie said, my county, Lycoming, want to put ballots on the counting paper ballots, compare them to state. Yeah, right. The state run by Tom Wolf. Yeah. But that's the thing. We already know it's cooked. I mean, this is my concern, Marie. What are you going to do? I mean, that's a problem. When you come back Wednesday and you realize the Republicans did not take over the Senate, even all the polls said they did. I mean, you see what I'm saying? It's all part of the opposite. They're getting you so they can tear you down. That's what I think, and I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Literally, my inclination is always to be pessimistic. I'm not going to lie. I think we'll win here in Georgia. Kemp is the polls are so much in favor of Kemp. I don't think it's gonna be close, and he'll pull Herschel Walker over the finish line. And Herschel Walker hasn't ran a bad campaign. Everyone like initially, oh, I was like, no, he's doing okay. He's not doing great, but he's doing fine. You know what I'm saying? But it's not about Herschel. It's about the current. I mean, this is why the midterms are always for the outgoing, the party in power. It's not about what do you think about Herschel. It's about what do you think about Biden, and Warnock is supporting Biden, and that's it. And if the that's what made Trump's win in 2018 in the Senate so amazing, because after all he had to contend with, he took out 4 Democrat incumbents. Now we lost 2 Republican incumbents, but we had a net of 1 or 2 of the Republicans, which hadn't happened since FDR. It's nuts. And everyone's like, oh, Trump's, and then 2020 came around, and Joe Biden's the most popular president. Oh, yeah, look at that. Look at that. Yeah, 100%. In fact, let's say a prayer for dear Heavenly Father. I just thank you for the women who are pregnant via unplanned pregnancies. I don't even care how they are. I just so thank you for those women who conceive the babies. And I pray for those who don't. They're not evil people. They made a mistake. We've all made mistakes. We're all sinners in front of you, Lord. I can't imagine what it's like to be a woman who's had an abortion. I got no animosity towards them at all. I just pray for their souls because we all need forgiveness. And we know that through you and your divine intervention, through your son, Jesus Christ, who died on a cross, was hung on a tree for us. We are all sinners and we all have redemption. Regardless of what sins against you we commit, we just need to ask for forgiveness and try to clean our hearts so we can be forgiven, because you will forgive if we seek it. And those women who have committed abortion, yes, it's a horrible atrocity. But just like every atrocity every human being has ever committed, we can all be forgiven if we just kneel before you and recognize the glory that is God Almighty, the creator of all things. And I just ask for forgiveness. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart, good Lord, for the abundance that you provide us. We pray in Jesus' name, amen. I don't even know if y'all can hear my prayers, but man, my mom had not 1 but 2 babies out of wedlock before I was born. And both are crushing. In fact, I just texted my sister. It's good. Every time I think about my sister Beth, it's gonna make me cry because she's an Astros fan. I said, man, the Astros are winning again. And she was in Houston. And man, she I think my mom was 15 when she gave her up, you know what I'm saying? And my other sister, which I have Beth is like a Southerner, like, hey, everybody, let's party, come on over. My other sister lives up in New England, and she's just like a New Englander. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say her name or anything because I think she's still shell shocked at the fact that she knew she was adopted, but that she has brothers and sisters running around out there. And I've talked to her. I've met her actually, and my sister has gone out on her boat with her and stuff, and it's great. She's just not nearly as welcoming, and that's not being mean. That's just the way it is. Not nearly as welcoming as my sister in Texas, and that's okay. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't put up for adoption. I don't know what that's like, but they're both crushing, man. You know what I'm saying? They both had children. They both have marriages. They're both taxpayers, keeping Social Security afloat, and both bringing joy to people. You know what I'm saying? And Beth, her adopted mom, has had Alzheimer's, or I can't remember, but dementia. And Beth was taking care of her. I can't remember. She died. I think she did. I cannot remember now. Ooh, I feel guilty. Not that long ago. You know what I'm saying? Beth was taking care of her. There's no win. You don't correct a wrong by murdering your baby. That's for sure. There's no win in that. Justice will be had to the guy who committed the rape. 100%. I've never understood how a guy who commits the rape gets excitable where he can perform. If you don't, I don't get that. I've never understood, like, how do you? I mean, I guess there's something wrong in their minds that say, "Oh man, this power makes me stimulated." I don't understand that word. I don't want to talk about it. Okay, gotcha. Oh, look at my man Bo D. Man, what a story. Yeah, that's freaking man. Ugh. Yeah, saved by grace, man. Saved by grace, brother. Man, what a great story, Bo. Man. I mean, obviously, it's not great in terms of what your birth mom was trying to do, but here you are, crushing. It's I'm amazed. I'm amazed at uh, the wonder of people who see through it, even though they don't want to. Oh man, dude, don't we all have a past, brother, man? 100%. All right, so to make just a Bill happy, oh, there's more. Yeah, man. And the fact that you got the kahunas or maybe the boobs to share it, would depending on which, or the uterus, the kahunas for the man and uterus for women. I don't even know how that works, dude. That way, just to make just a Bill happy, let's talk about. And then Harry's like nothing. I'm afraid we'll make Harry happy. I didn't realize we go on this tangent. 46 minutes in. I haven't done my presentation yet, man. Oh boy. Thank God for adoption. Right on, man. I tell you, I'm good. I'm goofy. If loving the Lord is wrong, I don't want to be right, man. I don't want to be right. That's for sure. And if what's that guy's name? Just a Bill is not satisfied. God is good always. Hey, look at my man Josh up there in Maine. All right, you got to vote early and often for our man LePage there, Josh. All right. No way. You're adopted for real, Harry? You're adopted too? Man, that brings that freaking oh, that makes me so happy I'm crying, man. It's like when I met my sister for the first time, dude. I was like big old baby bawling so much, man. Couldn't believe I was like, man, you know what I'm saying? Man. No, he's all right. No kidding, Harry. Oh, man. Mm. All right, let me just get my composure. This thing real quick. That little kid, you know what I'm saying? He's got a granddad because freaking Harry's adoptive parents took him in, and Harry's birth mom. I just, oh man, the fruits of that birth are going to be felt for generations because Harry's crushing. He's kicking ass and taking names. So Bo Diddley up here, man. Admiral Woolridge. All right, now I'm gonna have to. If it's okay with just a Bill, I got to look up Andrew Woolridge. Admiral Woolridge. Admiral Woolridge. Admiral Woolridge. Okay, Pablo. Oh, all right. Let's see about old Admiral Woolridge. All right, Pablo. What's up, big boy? All right, well, this one off. I didn't really expect to do this, but frankly, we'll get into the. Come on, man. All right, here's Admiral Woolridge. The Navy. All right, right on. Born in 1897, Kentucky. Graduated the Naval Academy in 1920. Submarine. Panama Canal. He served the Atlantic Fleet and the Navy Department. Commanded the battleship USS New Jersey. And participated in the battles of Iwo Jima and Okinawa. Commanded the occupation force of northeastern Japan. Returned to Washington, became commandant of the National War College. Is that the one in Carlisle? Yeah, right on, man. That's fantastic. Is that your pops? That's him, right on, man. Well, freaking awesome. That's awesome, Bo. That's awesome. Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna lose my mind here. That's freaking. Oh, it's just good stuff. All right. So I want to go into this. How's that for transition? That's great. Let's go into investing. I thought this was interesting. Now this is from over at Bloomberg, if memories, I can't remember. Bloomberg piece. Yeah, Bloomberg. Can y'all see that? Yeah, sweet. And I was hoping he would go into it. 70s inflation, 2000 asset valuations, which are high, debt to GDP, which is high, and supply chain issues, which I don't know if we need to, but I like the 70 style inflation with debt to GDP and high asset valuations. Now, the asset valuations are no longer high. And I'll prove that here in just a second. They're just not. But I like the idea of inflation with the high debt that we have. That's very interesting to me. You know what I'm saying? But he doesn't go into that. But he says the 4 Ds of inflationary undercurrents. Decarbonization. I'm stunned the guy at Bloomberg is able to say that. Where the inflation is being caused by getting off of cheap, abundant, reliable energy production. Demographic aging. Well, that's not inflationary. That's deflationary. Deglobalization. That's inflationary for sure in terms of prices, but it's also deflationary because you have less to buy. That's an interesting one there. Dominance of fiscal policy over monetary policy. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. But anyway, I'm surprised he's able to get away with saying decarbonization. Anyways, this is deflationary. That's going to be inflationary in some regard, but deflationary in other regard because it's going to make the prices go up because you can't get cheap foreign goods anymore. But you are getting cheap foreign goods right now because the dollar is so valuable. So it's hard to say what this actually means. It's very interesting. The issue is, will China keep making a cheap product? I don't know. But anyway, this is deflationary. This right here is certainly inflationary. So you have this, this debate here, a fight amongst themselves. But anyway, a couple of things I want to show. Regime change, whatever. I want to go down here. Equities are generally not great at a hedge of inflation. Now, someone made a good point, but it was wrong. So here, I just want to go down in here. I did a video on this earlier today. Under equity sectors suffer poor performance under high inflation. Someone made a point that it looked like the real returns of equities were in the positive during high inflation, and they weren't. I surprised that guy. I'm not sure why he thought that. Here is energy, and you can see when high inflation, this is returns right here. So energy had, even during high inflation, they had positive returns, even though the returns were diminishing, if that makes sense. Decelerating might be a better term. Healthcare, when you had inflation starting to break right about there, about 10%. We have never had 10% since then, but still we're getting there. Or we might, I don't know. But anyway, as you can see, high inflation, negative returns. This is the real return. Real return is net of inflation. High inflation, negative returns. And financial, same thing. High inflation. I mean, everything it is. High inflation, negative returns. So there is no hedge against high inflation. Equity sectors under high inflation. Regular inflation, just a moderated 2 to 3%, the federal funds rate is fine. And here we are, 2 to 3%. That's what we want. 2 to 3%, and as across the board. But this is what I thought was interesting. Check this out. Value and momentum. I don't care about momentum. Momentum is beginning to think of market timing. I did my water. But value performs decently during moderate inflation, but suffers in high inflation and doesn't now. Here's value. 1964 to 2020, and high inflation, we still had positive real returns in value. Isn't that interesting? Inflation over 10%, we still had positive real return, decent I mean, at 5%, dude, if I get positive return, a real return of 5%, I'll be loving that. Isn't that interesting? Value. Isn't that interesting? All right, so what does value mean actually? And equality and profitability, I don't care about it. Reversal, short reversal, long reversal, I don't even know what that means. Betting against beta, I don't care. Don't care. Tips, go down a little bit. Obviously, you think tips do well in high inflation, and right here, the real return in high inflation was about 2% or so. And high inflation, there's over 6. That's fine. I don't have any problem with that. But I want to. And he talks commodities offer robust inflation protection. 12-month rate of return of a BCOM composite index is a good inflation hedge. I don't think you should be doing that, but whatever, man. You can do whatever you want. I wanted to go into caveats. 2020-2022 were mostly disinflationary and had low macro volatility and generally poorly trend performance. Yeah, because there's always an exception to every rule. Within asset classes, the strategy appears to work best for commodities, but well less for other asset classes to fight inflation. All right, so we're going to talk about what defines value, because that is all that matters. And who wants to follow this crap, dude? Performance across economic regimes, just, oh my goodness, it's so freaking stupid. Don't do that to yourself. I want to show you if we can find value. He had it in here. Hold on just a second. Hold on just right here. Value factor is defined as, he has a fourth factor. Used to be 3 factors, but he's got 4. Book to market, price to book, price to earnings, and dividend yield. All right. Now he has free cash flow. That no one ever used that for value when I was coming up. So I don't know why you do that. All right. So value, in extremely high inflation, value suffers as economy enters a recession. Does it now? So let's take a look, because we just showed you that value did well during that time. And here we go. Value. Let's see here. He had it. Value 12-month factor. The average of the 4. Okay. Well, that doesn't make sense. Book to market, price to book. There. Okay. So there's price to book. Low price to book. That's a value stock. Yet net of inflation, you average about 4%. Not too shabby. Earnings yield PE ratios. That doesn't make sense. Why has he got this on here? Extremely high. Now I'm confused because I didn't catch that before, but he had value over here. Because I'm going to show it to you anyway. We're going to show you the proof in the pudding. Value. Hold on just a second. Now I'm confused because he had value in here. 1 second. Value right here. Value 1964 to 2022. HML. I don't know what HML stands for. 5% is the real return for value, 12-month return, 1964 to 2022. So so you go down here, he says value is defined, okay, but then he says value, 12-month average. Yeah, I don't get that. That doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, it doesn't matter because I'm going to show you anyway where, all right, so I want to show you something here. Now I want to share, right there. All right, cool. And for you veterans of the channel, you'll know exactly what I'm doing. So this is my man Daniel Kuhlbert's 55e.co, CO website, and the bucket strategy. And what we're going to do is we're going to put $100,000 in. We're going to take $5,000 a year out, adjusted for inflation. All right, and we're going to start in 1966, and we're going to use large cap value index, and we're going to use a couple different things. So I just want, so basically literally, we're taking 5% a year, adjusted for inflation, no bonds at all, and we're doing it in 1966. You could not have picked a worse time to do that. So we're going to look at the value index. All right, so we start the year negative down, and we took 5,000 out, so we ended the year at 89,000 bucks. Come right here, at the end of 1969, we're down to 95,000. At the end of 1974, we're down to 71,000. Oh, 49, 44, 25, 20. Oh, Nelly. And we are off to the races. We never run out of money. That's a value index. All right, but I don't want to do that because you couldn't have invested that back then. There's no value index to invest in. So what we're going to do now is we're going to look at American Funds, Investment Company of America, which is a value stock, high dividends, very plain vanilla, only 3-star rating, and we're going to do the same thing. All right, so Investment Company of America, AIVSX, and we're going to see how that shook out. And same thing, we're doing 100,000 bucks in. We're taking 5% a year off, adjusted for 5,000 a year, adjusted for inflation. So year one, we're taking 51.43, 53. At the end of year, right here, I guess that'd be year 12. We're taking more than double what we started. We took 5,000 to begin with, and now at the end of year 11 or 12, whatever that is, we're taking more than double that. Got smoked, and stubbed our toe, and now we're off to the races. 1982, we're down to 96,000 bucks. The lowest we ever got was 1974. We're down to 76,000 bucks. So American Funds Investment Company of America is a value stock, and that smoked it during inflation. So I don't know why the guy had another thing that said you didn't make money in inflation. I don't get that. That didn't make sense. So we have the value index. American Funds did well. Now we're going to look at Wellington, and because Wellington has bonds in there. Wellesley doesn't go back far enough. So we're going to look at Wellington, and Wellington didn't do as well. All right, so we, again, 1966, 1969, 1973, 1974, and we ran out of money, right? Oops. Oh, no. Oops, what'd I do? Who that, Lee? All right. I got my water right over there. You want to see a water cup, Lee, on the counter? I got a water cup right there on the counter. I just screwed up. Hold on a second, guys. There we go. Thanks, buddy. There's Liam. Hey, Liam. Thank you, buddy. You want to say hi to everybody? Hi. Can you believe the Bucks end up winning? Nope. I don't even know how they won. Because they have me on their team. They call me Scotty Miller. I dropped that ball in the end zone. All right. Hey, Denise says, hi, Liam. Liam says, go back to Wisconsin, Denise, where your Packers thing, the cheesehead. All right, so let me go back to what I was doing. All right, so what we're going to do. So Wellington ran out of money in year 16. Interesting. So the value stocks crushed. The value stocks with the third bonds got crushed. Interesting. Let's look at the S&P 500, shall we? S&P 500 ran out of money in year 18. So it's not like stocks were a hedge against inflation because we ran out of money with the S&P 500. We did not run out of money in the value stuff, though. Isn't that interesting? Let's look at just it. We ran out of money with value stocks with some bonds. Let's look at just the total bond portfolio. That was Putnam. Again, the reason I'm using Putnam, not because I like it, is because it's the longest bond fund that we have that we can find. Ran out of money in year 17. Interesting. So bonds ran out of money. They're almost the same time the S&P ran out of money. A portfolio of bonds and stocks, value stocks, ran out of money before both these guys. I actually, Wellington, I forgot when Wellington ran out of money. Let me see. Wellington ran out of money, yes, earlier than bonds and the S&P. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that plumb interesting? Let's see what else we got back here. I don't think Dodge and Cox goes back long enough. Government Securities Fund. I don't know if it goes back long enough. But we'll start that in 1970. So 1970, the Government Securities Fund, what did that do? Ran out of money in 20 years too. Highest inflation we ever saw. It actually outperformed the S&P 500, which ran out of money in what, 18 years? Outperformed a bond fund, which ran out of money in what, 17 years? Interesting. Now let's look at, let's do a comparison here. Wellington ran out of money in 19 years as well. All right. Let's look at S&P 500. S&P 500 ran out of money in 20 years. Interesting. And then we'll just look at American funds. American funds didn't run out of money until you died 33 years later. Value index. Never ran out of money. Growth index. Now, again, I hesitate to go here because you couldn't actually invest in these things, but we're going to do it anyway. I could have sworn I saw a growth index. Let's do small cap growth. That can't use that. Didn't start. It missed out the bulk of the 70s. I could have sworn I saw U.S. large cap. Dodge Cox ran out of money in year 19. Balance fund. Franklin Income Fund. Another year 38. Look at that. Another value play. Interesting. I know I saw U.S. large caps in here. I just can't find them. I guess not. Anyway, so the point, I want to do something else here too. Let's go over here. Get some meat for the wintertime. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. The refinery just laid off people last week. That can't be good. Yeah. You should send some meat down here, Marie. Telling Josh, Josh going out to the tree stand. Send me some meat. All right. So let's yeah. Diesels run low in the southeast. All right, so I want to share with you guys something. All right, so we're going to go to Portfolio Visualizer. And I want to show you guys something. We're going to go to 2022. We got $100,000. We're taking $5,000 out, adjusting it for inflation. We started with $100,000. We ended with, at the end of October, we ended with, I can't remember which is which. Hold on just a second. Portfolio one is Wellesley, Growth ETF, and Wellington. All right. Here's Wellesley, ended with $87,000. So you're down $13,000 after taking $5,000 out. Growth, you're down to $69,000 after taking $5,000 out. Wellington is down to $83,000. All right. So that's for this year. What if we started in 2021? $100,000 at $90,000, and you took 2 years out of cash. 85. That's Wellesley. That's Wellington. That's Growth. Huh? So starting in 2021, in the worst bond market we've ever seen ever in our histoire, we're only down 15%, and a good portion of that being down is because of what we withdrew in the Growth. In Wellesley, we're just down what we took out. All right. Let's go to, we'll just say when Trump was elected. We'll say 2017. Let's see where we're at. What? Wellesley's at 100,000. Growth is at 177. Wellington's at 120. Even after this right here, this chaos that we just had. Interesting. I find that interesting because everyone and their mom is saying how bad the markets are and they can't retire. And oh my goodness. I'm like, well, I mean, in 5 years' time, 6 years' time, the worst bond market we've ever had, a pretty significant 25% decline in the S&P 500. And you're, even after taking 5% a year out, adjusted for inflation, and you're still breaking even when you're in the Wellesley, you're still 20% up when you're the Wellington. Now the Growth, because the Growth just took off like a bat out of hell from right there to there. So we can change the Growth to VTV. We'll say VTV, the Vanguard Value Index. Oh, wow. Interesting. I'm just throwing it out there. When I hear all these people griping, I'm like, what? Yeah, if we just say, I'll go back to 2000. We'll go back to 2000. Let's see if I can find analyze here. Oh, man. There it is. Right there. And Vanguard Value didn't go back long enough. So we'll go to 2004. And after taking $5,000 a year adjusted for inflation in the lowest bond yields we've ever had for this long of a period of time, and the worst bond market we've ever had right now, Wellesley is still above where you started. Wellington is 50% above where you started. And the Vanguard VTV is at 50% above where you started. Interesting. Let's switch out VTV for VUG again. And we'll see what that looks like. VUG is at 223. And the reason, again, is because this right here. So now let's just switch out VTV for Vanguard. We'll just say VTSMX. There's a method to my madness here. Trust me. All right. Did I screwed up? Yeah. What's it not doing? VTSMX. We got we'll just do this. I don't get why is this not showing there? Oh, because I ran out of money. Okay, gotcha. All right, so there. Okay. I was like, what? So total stock index ran out of money in 2018 if you started in the year 2000. Huh. Wellington and Wellesley didn't run out of money. They're still crushing. Wellesley's at 148. Wellington's at 141. That's with 5% a year distributions, adjusted for inflation. Vanguard, large value. The VIVAX, right? That's it. Let's look at the large cap value index going back to 2000. Oh, 35,000. Interesting. All right. So what can we make of all this? Well, what we can make of it is that we've had two examples of histoire. I'm too smart for Peter. He can't help. How can this help build and protect retirement savings? Oh boy. Peter needs to gotta up his game. I'm too smart for you, dude. Too smart. I'm too smart for Peter. I'm too smart for Peter. Anyway, so we have two examples of one example of high inflation. All right, in high inflation, the dividend stocks did better. That's just a fact. In fact, the dividend stocks were your saving grace. The bonds didn't give you anything, man. The bonds didn't give you anything. They didn't. I mean, because we looked at the bonds, we looked at Wellington, S&P 500 didn't either. All right, so we know for a fact that in the high inflation, the only thing that provides you any kind of, defense was dividends. Fast forward until the last 20 years, we had relatively low inflation. The thing that has done well was having some exposure to bonds, and because we saw the total stock index ran out of money, man. We know that for a fact. Anything that was heavy in stocks ran out of money because of the odds. The odds were just freaking. I don't know what Polestar is, dude. Can I ask my current position on Polestar? Did I suffer a 50%? I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Sorry. Huh? I don't even know what Polestar is. Anyway, so the point being is that the bonds gave you saving grace in these last 20 years simply because the interest rates are so low and going down lower, and there wasn't much inflation to think about. Stocks got crushed, man, and the odds they got crushed. However, my inclination, as I've said 1,000 times a Sunday, is that those days are probably behind us. And as such, the dividend stocks, which gave you the reprieve against inflation in the 70s, are still the way to go, without question. Look at what Wellington and Wellesley have done from 2000 on. They had a little bit of bonds, but Wells had more bonds, but they had dividend-paying stocks. All right. So you almost have the best of both worlds because you said, yeah, they did lose money in the 70s going into the 80s. The dividend stocks did not save you enough because the bonds ultimately ran out of money, just like the S&P 500 did. But the facts are the bonds are now paying 4 to 5%, and they're at the lowest they've literally ever been. And I hope that makes sense. It's awful hard for me to sit there and say, oh my goodness, now the time the bonds are going to get crushed again when they're already where they're at. Literally the worst they've ever been. On top of that, hey, thanks, HB. Super sticker. Yeah, I don't know anything about Polestar. I don't know why someone would say I have a position Polestar. That's somebody else's channel, man. So, the best way to die with zero is do an annuity, man. Is do an income annuity. That's it. You want to die with nothing, do an income annuity. You're guaranteed to die with nothing. That's okay. I'm telling you, man, value stocks are where it's at. Value stocks are where it's at. Dividend stocks, value stocks. And you just got to say, I get it. They're not sexy. They're not fancy. And the reason they're value is because they've been beaten down for some reason. And they're going to be tough to buy. I mean, literally ExxonMobil, which I got out of like a fool, ExxonMobil stock was a deep discount value stock I think it was a year ago. And And that sucker, dude, I can't believe Exxon's at 112. Damn. I bought that, had like now it's yielding 3.25. I got it when it had a yield like 8.5. Still got PE at $9. Am I saying that's a value stock? Yeah, you still got a pretty good yield and it's still got a low PE, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's up way high, but it's up way high because it didn't do anything for so long. I mean, here's 10 years. Now, I don't know what that means. You know what I'm saying? I mean, look at that. Look at that. I don't know. All I know is at the end of the day, I think bonds look good, and I think dividend stocks look good. And if we look at history, dividend stocks did great during the inflationary times of the 70s. The bonds were a little bit of a drag on it, but so were growth stocks as well. So you could throw out the baby with the bathwater and say, I'm just going all dividend stocks. But if you did that, you're pretty close to running out of money in the aughts, in this decade right now, from 2000 to today, because the dividend stocks did not do as well as we needed to provide us with that 5% a year adjusted for inflation. Now, all that's silly anyway, because it's not like you're going to take 5% a year adjust for inflation anyhow. As you age, you start spending less, and more to come on that. But I think I think the dividends are absolutely where it's at. Growing dividends, bonds don't grow. Growth stocks have no dividends. I mean, so you're just buying, you're hoping for expansion of price earnings ratios. I don't think that's a good move. I'm telling you, man, dividend stocks, dividend stocks, dividend stocks. So if you want a full dividend stock portfolio, you look at something like the American funds, not the growth fund of America, the investment company of America. You look at, a fund like Windsor or Windsor 2 over at Vanguard. It's been a while since I looked at either of these funds. So if they're not still dividend heavy, I apologize. But my last remembrance of Vanguard was Windsor and Windsor 2 as both value-oriented stock funds. And I don't know what else is out there. VUG, or VTV, it's not VUG, VTV. That's what you buy. But I think because bonds are so destroyed that the upside of bonds is immense. So I'm still sticking with Wellington and Wellesley. And that's what you should do if you're worried about inflation. The answer is right there. Now, does that mean just because it happened in the past, I'll begin? I got no idea. But I think that's a pretty safe bet. Growing dividends that compound versus growth, which has no dividends, which is just price contraction, price expansion, price to earnings ratios. Well, if the earnings are going down because the cost of energy and labor are going up, how are you going to see expansion PE ratios? You're not. Now, you can make the same case with dividends. If earnings are going down for dividend stocks, well, that's why you got to watch the payout ratio. If the payout ratio is above, basically 80%, they're not going to be able to expand their dividends. But their payout ratio. So remember, payout ratio, they make $100 of earnings. Earnings is net. That's the profits. If they're paying out $40 of that earnings in dividends, their payout ratio is 40%. If they're paying out $90 of that earnings and dividends, their payout ratio is 90%. What is likely to continue on? A company that only pays 40% payout ratio, are they going to be, if the earnings goes from 100 to 80 and they're only paying out 40, they're still got 50% payout ratio. That's easily sustainable. If the company's paying 90% payout ratio and the earnings go from 100 to 80, now they get over 100% payout ratio. That's not sustainable. That's when dividends get cut and the stock takes a dump. So you want lower payout ratios. Now, do you really want to get in the weeds in that? I don't. That's why I said Wellington or whoever you want to use. I don't know. Franklin Income Fund. I just know that because I like it. It's been around for a long, long time. There's tons of good value funds out there, man, tons. But for me, it's just Wellington. I don't know anything about the Vanguard High Dividend Yield Fund. That might be something to look at too. Absolutely. Yeah, there you go. Celtic Spirit, create a basket of dividend aristocrats. Yeah, I get no problem with that. But I just don't want to be involved in buying a bunch of individual stocks. I just rather buy, hot girls are here. I knew it was only a matter of time. Let's get this guy time out. Let's block that guy. Because he's inviting people to my house because hot girl is here. Hot girl is here, my wife. And don't you come here. Don't you come here, sex chat 69 site. All right. Vanguard dividend growth, 100%, man. I own that. It's very concentrated. It's only got 40 or 50, maybe it's even less. I can't remember, but roughly 40 stocks. So if dividends take off like a bat out of hell, this will. If dividends get hammered, you'll get hammered too. Oh, here we got triple X 20 fund. Oh boy, how am I getting these guys all of a sudden? Block user. Did I block that guy? I thought I did. There we go. Come on, YouTube. Okay. YouTube's got to know how to do this, man. YouTube's got to know how to get these. 10th Mountain Thunder. 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 I was born. Something, something, something. All right. Yeah, Wellington, no, Wellington, but I'm not quite sure. Yep, yeah. There was a time Wellington changed their purpose, and I'm not sure if that's the 70s. I don't. Maybe the Nifty 50 stocks these they got into. I don't know, but yeah, but that was with a 5% adjusted for inflation, and I mean, the idea that people are going to spend this linear base adjusted for inflation, the evidence isn't there. So I'm kind of yeah, look at this. Yeah, it was instead of the Qs, we'll buy the X's. XXX20 fund. Oh man. Oh, good stuff. All right. What else? So, what do you guys want to talk about? I hope that was helpful. Look, I'm a dividend guy. There's all there's to it. I grew up on dividends, price earnings, price to book, low price to book, low price to earnings, high dividend yields. Those are three factors of value: low price to earnings, low price to books, high dividend yield. But you also got to look at payout ratios. I cannot stress enough payout ratios. If you have, let me just. Oh no! I have to use my shirt. Let me just, because I think I was explained too fast. So if you have a stock that has $100 of earnings and it pays out $80 of its earnings in dividends, that means it has an 80% payout ratio, which means it only has 20 bucks left after dividends for profits. All right. If you have a stock that pays out 40%, I mean, $40 of its earnings in dividends has a 40% payout ratio, which means it has $60 left. All right. Now that $60 can be used for all kinds of nefarious things. Pay salaries, buy back shares. I mean, freaking splurge on some stupid marketing campaign with Justin Bieber or whatever. I guess I got it. All right. But now let's say that same stock now, that $100 of earnings, it drops to 80. I think now $80 of earnings and you're still paying $80 for dividends. Now you're at 100% payout ratio. You got no money left. That's not going to be good. So if the $100 earnings drops to 80 and you're still paying out 40 bucks, your payout ratio has now gone up to 50%, but you still got 40 bucks left to increase the dividend, to buy back more shares, all kinds of things. The issue is right here, you got nothing, you got no room to maneuver. So what if your shares drop, your earnings drop to 70 now? In this case, you're in negative territory. You don't have enough earnings to pay your dividend. So there's literally only two ways for this. You have to reduce your dividend, which is not good for stocks, or you got to take on debt to pay your dividend. Neither of those are very profitable. I guess you could sell a bunch of shares, you know what I'm saying, to raise funds to increase your dividend. But I mean, it's kind of like paying off a credit card by putting on another credit card. At some point, you got to pay the piper. And that's not a good proposition, amigos. When the earnings goes down where you don't have enough to pay your dividend, how do you keep paying that dividend, man? How do you keep paying it? By debt? Eesh. Or by reducing the dividend? And when you start reducing the dividend, it's bad. So watch the payout ratios. Oh man. Thanks, HB. Yeah, if you guys want to give me your money, UPS. I'm here for the taking. I'll take your money. Take your money. And just remind you, I did support Ron Johnson. So if you give me money, it might go to Ron Johnson. UPS has got a 3.6% dividend yield. PE of 12.99. I mean, again, I'm just looking off of this. I don't know how accurate that is. This is from finance. I think, yeah, they get it from Yahoo Finance. But if that is true, oh, man, yeah, canker sore. I mean, UPS looks pretty good. Dividend yield of 3.5, something like that. 3.3, 3.6 plus a 13 PE. Verizon's has so much debt for so long. 8 PE, dividend yield of 7. So here's a perfect value stock, Verizon. 8 PE, dividend yield of 7. There's the price. Now, why is the PE so low? Well, because the price is getting hammered. The price is down from Price is down from 61 to 37. So, the price drops that much, the dividend yield goes up by this. I mean, it's a seesaw. The price goes down, the dividend yield goes up. It's got a PE of 8. Now, the thing about Verizon, they got so much debt, man. That's what's scary about Verizon. Like, how are they going to pay that debt? Are they making enough cash flow to pay the debt? I don't know. Yeah, I managed futures. We're back to this again. Oh gosh, I remember managed futures for all the cats meow. Man, I want to say, was it 10 years ago? Swenson over at Harvard, Yale or Harvard? I think it's Harvard. David Swenson, one of the endowments. Everyone's managed futures, Timberland. Gosh, man, everyone's like, I want to be like Swenson, and it just fell off a cliff. Look, man, people do what they got to do. I'm just saying, managed futures isn't investing. That's the issue. Options isn't investing. That's speculation. Now, options, if you're selling covered calls, that's different. You're just saying, look, I'm willing to have a limit to the upside to generate some income. I get that. That's fine. But all this other stuff is you're just putting a bet on the table against other people. And I guess you could say even selling covered calls is doing that too. I don't really think so. I think you're saying I'm willing to lose something on the upside in order to create some income. And I'm still holding the shares. I still get the dividends. And I still have all the risk of the downside. But you are limiting your upside. That's true. But at the end of the day, it's all these things. It's just I'm betting on this over that. That's it. And I don't want to bet in the markets. I want dividends. Dividends make me. Oh boy. Well, there we go. Dividends pay and they compound. That's what, especially if you reinvest it, it's compounding dividend. And that's the way stock market used to be. It wasn't. It shouldn't be speculating because you're buying the best companies in America who employ people and create the products that you like and buy. Even if you hate the CEO, you're still buying it because you're still using the product. You know what I'm saying? All right. What do I think about red? I don't know. I don't think markets are all that concerned with politics. You know why? Because if you actually look historically, the market has done better under the Democrats. I don't think it matters, frankly. The market, the people who run the show, they get paid regardless of Republicans or Democrats. That's for sure. They just want us fighting. Yeah, my mom bought some Ford not that long ago. I think she took it on the chin, but she said maybe it was GM. Actually, what the hell did she buy? I can't remember. Yeah, look at Ford, dude. Ford has just been nothing for so long. Isn't that crazy? Just weird. Ford. We're going. Look at that. Going back to 19. I mean, look at that. Just nothing. Crazy. That's what GE is doing. I haven't looked at GE for a while. I was born something, something. I cannot get over. I just can't get over GE. No PE ratio. I cannot. I still. I just. What did Jeffrey Immelt do to this company, man? It's still amazing to me. GE. That's 10 years. I mean, that was the bluest of blue chip stocks. Oh, she bought GE. That's what she bought. She bought GE 6 months ago. Yeah. My mom was one of the best investors I've ever known. And, she's made some mistakes, but she has a knack for this stuff. I always enjoyed talking to my mom about stocks. It's interesting because she's not a capitalist. She voted for Bernie Sanders, but she likes the markets. You know what I'm saying? She likes the research behind it, the numbers. All right. I'm getting a GE's owned by the commies? Damn. Really? Eh, all right, Jill. There you go. Yep, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I don't know, man. How long will it be in the down market? I think bonds will be freaking exploding here pretty soon. Probably too early, but I don't know that to be true. I think bonds are going to be freaking going jumping jubilees here shortly. Yeah. Gee, they did like most CEOs. But I was probably under Jack Welch. They said, "Hey, if we're good at making friggin' steam engines, we'll probably be good at selling long-term care products." I think the bear market and bonds are over. Let's put it that way. Not quite sure about stocks. We shall see. All right, I'm gonna get out of here, man. I got something. I bit my tongue, or I got a canker, so I can't tell one or the other. But my tongue is hurting. It's making my talking. Yeah, I feel like I got a big old fat tongue. Appreciate y'all being here. Thanks, guys. God bless, and we'll see you. I'm gonna do Wednesday. So for now on, I'm gonna do it Wednesday at noon and Sunday at 8. The Tuesday and Thursday, a little bit too much for your old buddy Josh, but Wednesday, and I might do some surprise live streams on occasion, just depending on what the schedule is. I've been busy as a freaking clam the last couple of weeks, and the Tuesday and Thursday, a little bit too much on your old buddy Josh. So I'm going to do Wednesday at noon. I think Wednesday and Sunday seems to be a good thing. I know I keep changing around, but I like doing a day live stream. The two where I was like, a little bit of a drag on your old buddy Josh. But all right, see you guys. Thanks now.